So you recently ran us through a very cool session 0 at the start of our newest campaign, and I want to talk to you about it. So this is going to be our first interview episode where I'm going to interview Tyler.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
About session 0. So hi, we are Lore Lovetloot. I'm Emery.
And I'm Tyler.
And today is all about the session 0.
0.
What is a session 0?
A session 0 it is different things to different people, but in general, it's a place where you're going to decide what your game is going to look like. It includes all sorts of things, and I won't open them up here because we'll get into them as we go, but it includes a bunch of different pieces, and it's about building expectations for a campaign. Where do you want it to go?
Mm-hmm. Now, ours had a lot of new aspects that I hadn't run into in any games before, so I thought that was cool and I want to talk about it. Yeah. One of the things was before we even came to session 0, you sent us all a questionnaire right off the top.
Yeah, I found I partake in a lot of YouTube and a lot of other channels, and I watch a lot of stuff, and you you take pieces and bits from all over the place, and I saw that that's something that some DMs did to a lot of success. And I think the main goal of it, because anytime I bring in something new, I want to make sure that it's solving a problem, right? Mm-hmm. It's improving what we're doing. And a lot of times our session 0s, we would do a lot of work at the start on what we want, with this and that. And a lot of the people we play with are the same people often when we do a new campaign. Yeah. So I thought to kind of remove a little bit of that and allow more of the fun parts that you want to actually create the characters and create all the parts of the campaign, we can get some of that other stuff out of the way first. It was also a place to do a few other things too. But the first part of it was to get out some information, was to get out some expectations that maybe I had about the play space and what to bring for snacks and what time we'd be playing and just those things, and make sure everyone's okay with that as a first piece. Mm-hmm. That was step 1. The second part was to lay out a few things that I wanted to change, so a few homebrew rules and a few other little bits and pieces just to make sure they're there, make sure nobody had any issues with them. And if they did, there was a place to bring those up. Yeah. Then the next piece was to then ask some questions. And some of those questions were things like, what do you expect out of this campaign? What is it that you want out of the campaign? What is it that you expect from your fellow players? What kind of table etiquette were you looking for? What kind of things did you want out of your DM? And was to also give a chance to give some feedback on the homebrew rules and make some changes to them if we needed to, and just some changes that I made to some of the core mechanics. Nothing major, but was everyone okay with that? Right? An example might be the identify system. I wanted something a little different. I've heard, again, watching some videos, some things that I saw were ways to make identifying and make magic a little bit more rare, but without penalizing the players.
Taking away player agency, right? And like, I have this skill that I should be able to use.
Yes. Yeah. And that in itself, it would probably be another video. I could go on that one for a little while, so I'll leave that one for another video. But,
upcoming, identify the video.
Yes. But yeah, that was the questionnaire. It was put out information and look for some responses, and then eventually we at the actual session 0, we would bring in that conversation. So we would bring all those questions together and discuss them as a group. Mm-hmm. And if there was any big points that needed discussing, then I'd bring them forth to everybody, and then we'd have a chance to talk. If there were things everybody just agreed on, we didn't need to bring them up. Yeah. And it was okay, everyone signed off, we're good, and then we can get into the other parts quicker.
Yeah, you streamline the process. Yeah. Okay, so we did our questionnaire, we all showed up, session 0, our beverages, our snacks. Yeah. Let's build a character.
Yeah.
Or what came first.
And I kind of went, hold on, let's try something just a little different, because we already identified ourselves as a group that wanted to kind of have more role-playing in our game. We played many different groups in the groups that we play in, and we just thought that's something that we all felt was important to us, and we wanted to up that a little bit more. So I tried a few things, and the first thing that I started with was a character creation tool. Mm-hmm. I pulled from all places all over the place and put together a document that I sent out to the players, and they could make their own copy of it, kind of thing. They could then fill it in.
Yes.
And it had a few different parts to it. One of the first parts was character traits. So going a little bit beyond just the personality trait, ideal, bond, flaw. Yeah. They're good. They get a good start to a character, but I wanted to go a little further. Yeah. especially with, we used a different world, a homebrewed one that I had some elements that I wanted to change a little bit. So it kind of made sense to go, how does your character feel about this thing in the world? So that was a place to be able to have players explore a little deeper into their character's motivations. The next part about it was tying mechanics to backstory. And I find a lot of times when we make characters, especially in isolation, we end up where we have characters that you, let's say, know this, you have this ability, or you have this racial trait, or you have whatever it is on your character sheet, but there's no real explanation as to why you have it. Right? So you're a fighter and you have proficiency in all the weapons. Yeah. How?
Why?
Right? How and why? Right? Did you have a trainer? Did you have someone who trained you? Hey, guess what? We're building the world together right now because you're going to make me a trainer and have them in your backstory, hopefully. Right? Yes. Did you just pick up a sword from a young age and you had to defend the farm and you just got good with weapons and sure. But whatever your reason is, come up with a reason so you have a semblance of who the character was before, so then you can bring them and have those experiences that get built into the game.
It's like effective backstory skills.
It is. Yeah, you're right. Where it's not just making a backstory, again, in that isolation, or making something that is so out there, in a sense. You know, I was a level 1 character and I've slain a dragon, by myself. Right? Like, you want to kind of keep it a little bit in. You're not an adventurer yet. You're just becoming level 1. What did you do before that, right? And how did you get those skills? Right? How did you come across them? It kind of grounds the character in the world.
Yes.
Right? And helps with a point that comes up in a bit as well.
Yeah, that was a big thing in this session 0. Was like, these characters belong in this world. You're creating the characters. I'm creating the world. How do we make sure everything's meshing and going together?
Yes, yeah. There was a big goal that I had, and I think it went across fairly well.
Yeah, it's been neat to play it that way.
The next piece as part of that tool was coming up with goals, and I've talked about this in a previous video just a little bit. We recently did a video about errors in character creation, and a part of that was making goals.
Yeah, making sure you have them.
Yeah, making sure you have them. That's step 1. Yeah. But then going a step further with goals, because the basic character sheet doesn't have that. Right? Again, you've got your personality trait, ideal, bond, kind of gets into goals and flaws, right? It's a really base level goal, though. It's not something that's usually overly actionable. And that's, I think, a really important thing about having goals and all these traits and stuff, is making them actionable, things that you as the player can look at and go, I can act that out. And that helps inform my decisions.
That's the biggest one. It helps inform my decisions. It's like the spine or the push. What is your why? You need to have that. If you don't have that, you're just kind of floundering in the world.
Yeah, I found often as a player, I guess I'm not a player too often. When I have been a player in the past, I found that just those basic pieces were never quite enough to really help me make good decisions in character. So I always wanted to go a little further. And SMART goals was kind of a way to do that. And what are SMART goals?
On the spot. Specific, measurable, attainable. I have to remember to spell. Relevant, timely.
Yeah, right. And you can mix and match and play around with those. Timely, if you have a goal that's never going to be able to be completed in this campaign, probably don't have it. It can be in the background. Yeah. But you might want to come up with something that is going to be completable within this campaign. Right, make them specific. So this was a chance to go in depth and create some really solid goals and hopefully ground them again in the world. And that was the whole big thing, was to ground them in the world. Some examples could be, hey, what if my character is driven by wealth, right? And often we'll say, oh yeah, my character really likes gold. Well, that kind of works, right? But like, take it a step further. Why? Right? So
and how much is wealth to them? What does that mean?
That's the specific part, right? Do I want 10 gold? I could probably get that in a few sessions. Do I want 500 gold? Am I trying to pay off a debt that I have? Am I trying to set up a guild? And to do that, I need 1,000 gold pieces, or whatever it is. So get specific with the goal so that you have direction. And then you also then pull in the players.
Yes.
Right? And it's all this tie-in that we're trying to make, is like, well, okay, I'm looking for gold because I've got this thing to do and this thing to do. Well, maybe the other players will start giving me some of the extra gold because I'm the one that, I really need it for the thing that I need to do, right?
So beyond making our characters exist in the world and having goals, you really had us hands-on in the world.
Yeah, again, wanted to try something new. We've never
Mhm.
done this. As the DM, I often, traditionally went, I make all the stuff and you play it,
Yeah.
right? And it works generally. That's the pretty traditional way to do it. But I wanted to go. I want to give up the reins a little bit more in this campaign, which is
Yeah.
a scary thing to start with,
Yeah.
and it's new, and I want to try a little bit. I think the players that I have are very up to the challenge, and you already have been and shown that you can be. So it's been great. That's a whole nother video. But I wanted to give some of that control and that tie-in to the players. So the first kind of steps were, here's a big piece of paper.
Yeah.
Put a paper on the table, filled a good chunk of the table. I think we actually had 2 pieces of paper, and it was kind of, here's a blank canvas in a sense. I gave a little bit of a premise of the world and everything and where we were going to kind of be, but then I went, okay, where do we want to start? And do you kind of remember like where we started?
We kind of drew a whole town.
Yeah.
Like, given you gave us guidance and like little pieces of information, and then we were physically drawing, okay, well, this guy's going to be over here, and they're going to be a blacksmith over here, and well, here's an orchard, and who's at the orchard? Oh, maybe I know them. Do you know them? And it was this whole collaborative thing that was so cool.
Yeah. There's always that couple of minutes where it was like, this is new.
Everyone was terrified.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But once we got past that, and once a couple of things were put on the board, then I think everyone dove in pretty well, and we're starting to see where their characters and where the ideas for their characters could connect with the parts of the world. And we ended up with 2 maps. One was the main town we started in, and we were in that town for 10-ish sessions.
10 sessions, yeah.
Before we kind of went off, but there was lots that started in that town. Then we did another map that opened up a little further, going, here's the town we started in, here's some things that are around us.
Yeah.
And, this direction to this city and this direction to this city. And those are maybe things that I would create later, or I'd create with certain people who maybe came from those areas. But the idea was a common place where everyone has traveled to. Everyone has their little pieces of information that they know in these areas, and then the connections start, right? Because with those locations that we made, again, the blacksmith and the bakery and the whatever else, it was, hey, this is the NPC that I know because I trained with them or I traveled with them.
And it was such a treat as a player to have created these people. Like, my character had spent a lot of time at the tavern and inn and knew the tavern keep well. And then when Tyler brought him to life, it was just like so much more engaging because this was born of both of us.
Oh, yeah.
And I gave it a square on a map and a name, and then you brought him to life. And it was so cool because I knew him. Like, there was a connection there.
Yeah. Oh, and it added an extra interesting and fun challenge where sometimes they went, oh, we're going to make this really off the wall NPC that was really different from something I maybe would normally make. And then I went, all right, I'm going to do this.
I got to do it. Yes,
so it was a great challenge for me to go pull me out of my comfort zone a little bit too, and go, these characters, these NPCs are a little different for me. So great, let's try it. And that pulled me out a little bit. That was fun. There was definitely some interesting names that I had to just meld a little bit.
Yes,
because
you had
sometimes
to
we come
fantasy-fy them.
silly names a little. So we tried to again get into that more serious role-playing tone. So you can still pull it in a little bit.
And sometimes you have
to.
But
but no, they did really good with it. And in the end, there was a town that was drawn out, and I took it from there and made up a map on digital tools and stuff and had some fun with that. But the base was set. The world was created in a sense of where we'd at least start the campaign in. Connections were made between the players, their characters, and the NPCs. And then it also made some tie-ins with each other.
Yes.
So the system we used a little bit, and I found this from another resource, again online, and there's some books as well that I used. But I basically got these little strips of paper, cut them all out, and on them was printed different locations. So one had temple, one had bakery, one had blacksmith, etc., etc. And then a bunch of them also had character joint connections, and they were somewhat vague but specific enough where you could go, does that make sense? So one of them might have said, my character and your character are on the run from something. What was it?
Right. And then we kind of, you passed these out and made us kind of pick them out, and one of us would read them out, and then someone else would be like, oh, I can take that one, like my character will know the baker. Or we read out that one and someone else would be like, oh, we could definitely have been on the run. That is not a problem, right? And it just allowed us another level of building and creating connections, so that session 1, when we hit, we were just going.
Oh yeah, and that was the beauty behind all this, I think, is all this preparation and I mean it was fun because we were creating together, but all this led into being able to start at session 1 already knowing each other, not in just I know your name and what you look like and your class, because that's pretty easy to work with, but you knew each other a little more intimately, and it was just, I know a little bit about who your person is, so I can already interact and engage and start that role playing with you. And it was the quickest a campaign has ever started for me, as far as it was running already session 1. I would say even by session 2, it was like previous campaigns, maybe 10-15 sessions into a campaign. So it helped definitely quite a bit.
Yeah, it was such a neat experience to go through and to get to answer all these questions. There was stuff I hadn't even thought of yet. I thought I had a pretty well-developed character coming in, and there was so much input coming in from the whole table that it was like such a collaborative building process. I need to do this for every campaign. This was fantastic.
Yeah. And there'll be tweaks, of course, like every system has, but I think it worked out quite well.
Yeah. And then finally, on top of building all these relationships and the map and these scenarios, you gave us secrets.
Yeah, I did try this one in a previous campaign, and I liked it. It worked out well. I tweaked it just a little bit, and basically what I wanted to do was give everyone a secret in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody has something that they know about the world that no one else in the party knows about specifically, and it's something that's going to tie you into a world mechanic or a world situation that's going on, or it's going to be something that can help drive your character forward or build something from them. So what I did was I took a tarot deck basically, and just this is the one that I happen to use here, front there. It's the Empress deck from Adventurers Tarot. And what I did was I pulled out a certain amount of cards, all ones that I thought were relevant, which was most of the deck. I would hold the deck out to them and let the player pull a card. They got to look at it. Right? They would look at it kind of in secret. No one else could see it. And then they would pass it back to me. And so it might have something like the Celestial. And some of this art's beautiful. But they would have the Celestial on it. Right? Or it might have the Elemental. Right? And what I would do then is I would give them an option of 4 things. So they could have a conflict with a person or a group or an organization, and they got to kind of pick it. So they got to tailor the secret a little bit. But then I took the world and joined it together. Right? It could be a alliance with someone, again, or a group of people. It could be knowledge that they had about something in the world. And it could be an object, either one that they already possessed
or needed,
or one that they're waiting for. Right? So then I took, the elemental, and let's say they picked an object. Maybe it was an object that they had, didn't realize it was magical, and eventually it would get elemental powers. Right? It could be something they unlock throughout the game. It could have been, let's say, the Celestial, and they picked an alliance. Well, I would go into going and making a story out of that and going, they knew this person, but didn't realize that they actually were a Celestial, and maybe that will play out something interestingly in the future. Whether that's a warlock patron or who knows, what, it could be anything. But it was a way to give the characters and their player some secret about the world, and then I give them a little write-up going, here's what you know. And eventually, later in the campaign, those things will start to come up, and then they'll be like, wait, I know a thing.
Well, and I'm most players are like me in that, like, when you get to touch something with your hands, like when you pass us coins or cards or anything, we get really excited because props are fun. And so when we got to pull cards out of a deck to like guide us through this, that was such a neat experience as well. It just added that next level of heightened. You could have just emailed me and been like, here's your secret. Right? But so it was just getting to play with props is just so much more fun.
Overall, I think it was a really good experience as far as the campaign goes, and we're into it now. We're a lot further. We've left that hometown. We've gone further places, but the experience of that system and the experience of how it's worked in the world so far has been a real big benefit to the campaign. And every time
we're deeply ingrained in it.
Anytime we go past that town again, we did recently, we were on a journey, and they went, oh, but we got to stop back in this town
Yeah.
because we got to check in on these people and how they're doing. So like there's connections, right? So it's going to have a lasting effect on this campaign. And it started off on such a good start that I think it's been a really strong campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was such a neat experience.
Yeah.
And when you fully develop a world like this, it's important to take notes to make sure you keep up with everything. So if you want to check out our episode on taking good notes and how to effectively use note-taking in RPGs, check it out, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
And I want to talk to you about it.
Good.
So
That's terrible.